This is InFocus News. Hello, thanks for joining me again this week. I'm David Gibbons. It's been almost a month since the Black Saturday fires in Victoria, the worst natural disaster in Australia's history. I made the journey to the area last week to put together this report. I'm here in Victoria where the bushfires totally ravaged the countryside. Hundreds of people lost their lives, thousands of homes were destroyed, and over 1 million animals died during the blaze that took hold of this countryside here on the 7th of February. But in the midst of this tragedy is a beautiful story of hope. I'm here at the family home of the Bird family. Lorna and David and their children lost their home during the fire.
7th of February, 09.
This video was taken by 11-year-old Stephen as the smoke loomed over a house of a friend not far from the threatening flames.
The wind is really going, as you can see on that tree, and over there a big fire went through, and all over there it hit straight, apparently it hit straight through none of the poles. The sky is smoky too. It certainly is a sight.
But it was not until the roadblocks were lifted and the family was allowed to return to their property that the reality of their situation hit home.
Yeah, when we were going through Narberthong and Marysville, we realised that it was bad. Yeah. And we were prepared to see something bad.
The Bird family's 10 acres of bush paradise now looks more like a war zone. With only their car and the clothes on their back, the family has returned to their home to try to come to terms with how their lives have changed.
Do you want to keep it as a memento?
I think so.
So how did you prepare the children for what they were going to see?
Well, we talked to Stephen and Sarah beforehand, David, but we weren't sure how they'd take it. We felt it would be best for them to be involved from the beginning.
Very sad. In fact, I didn't actually want to come out of the car when I first saw it.
We realised, and we talked to the children about the fact that, you know, a lot of people, no matter what we found, you know, a lot of people had suffered more than we had, and they knew that. At that stage, we didn't know our neighbours had been killed in the incident.
A friend gave me a lot of things, but amongst them was a little toiletries bag with a tiny little torch and a bag of tissues, and that was just a part of a lot of things. But one night when we had to break the news to our son that our neighbours had passed away because he was overhearing things, we all sat on the bed and cried together, and I reached for those tissues.
So is there anybody else that you know that's been impacted by this, you know, your neighbours and people nearby?
Our whole community is gone. I think everybody's lives have been impacted. We don't know of any other people who have died. We knew of a family who had 9 children and she was pregnant, and we were just so relieved to see them alive.
So how have you been looking after yourselves? Where have you been staying?
It was a camping shot. We camped in the camping shot, and the lady who owned it said, just take whatever you need, and we scrounged around, found a few torches and sleeping bags, so we still got to pay her back for that.
In situations like this, people ask, where is God? What is God doing? How do you respond to those kind of questions?
My personal opinion is that really there is no adequate answer, with, you know, intellectual answer. I think there's an emotional answer that meets our needs, and that's found in knowing that, yes, God is all-powerful, but also He does suffer with us.
Earlier we were wandering around the property here and you showed me the vegetable garden, and there were new green shoots that had burst forward, and I guess that was really encouraging for you as you responded to that. So how do you get hope out of ashes?
I think that there are always things that we can be thankful for. The mystery of suffering is very deep. That's something that has really impacted me, that I don't think there's any pat answers, but the one thing that has struck me is, even though the mystery of suffering is deep, if we look for hope, we can find it. Nature hasn't given up. and God hasn't given up, and we shouldn't either.
ADRA Australia has committed $150,000 to the Victorian bushfire relief effort. Tax-deductible donations can be made to ADRA's Disaster Preparedness and Response Fund. And you can access the full-length interview with David and Lorna Bird on the InFocus website. In breaking news, the Adventist town of Warburton was caught up in the Australian bushfire disaster this week. And in this week's edition of Record, there are reports on how Adventists have responded to the Victorian bushfires. The 7 Secrets for Feeling Fantastic Health Tips book by Dr. Darren Morton is launched as an audiobook. And the editor ponders how one sings the song It Is Well With My Soul against the backdrop of Australia's worst peacetime disaster. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. I'm David Gibbons.